today I've been driven in by the weather. I wanted to do another cooking demo outside, but I've been driven inside. It's been raining all day, and I really wanted to show you this dish, which is warm custard, turmeric custard, like golden coloured custard, and it's really super healthy. And I'm just going to fry up some pears to go with it, but bear with me because this is a delicious way to make custard and it be healthy. It's actually following on from this week when I did a post about flaxseed and how gorgeously good it is, especially for your gut. So here we are. I have got some milk here. It can be any type of milk, literally any type of milk. And in fact, you don't even have to warm this custard at all if you want it cold, because in fact it gets thickened with the flaxseed, which doesn't need warming, unlike corn flour or wheat flour. But I want warm custard today, so I'm using this saucepan and I'm warming it up. So the key ingredient that thickens it up here is flaxseed. And if you watched my post about grinding up the flaxseed, this is golden flaxseed, but you could use brown flaxseed. And it's just absolutely gorgeous. It's got soluble fibre in, which actually your gut microbiota and the lining of your gut wall just adores. And it's got fantastic insoluble fibre as well to help form, if you don't mind me saying so, firm your stools up. I talk about stools all day long in clinic, so I'm quite used to it. Now, what have I added? That was 250 mils of milk, so that's roughly 1 large cup. And I've added in 3 fairly heaped, actually, tablespoons of flaxseed meal, brown flaxseed, which is sometimes called linseed. And now, to make that kind of golden colour, I'm adding in some turmeric. I'm adding in 1 level teaspoon of turmeric, and then I'm going to add in some ginger. And I've got my favourite ginger here. This is just dried ground ginger, and it's just lovely, but I know it's organic and I just particularly like it. It's got a really good ginger flavour. So this, you could use fresh ginger in here as well. So you really only need, you want the ginger and the turmeric to balance out, but I think you really need about that. There we go, that was a teaspoon, or just under a teaspoon of the ginger. And so really that's it, and you want that just to warm up and mix together. Now you don't want the flax to go all clumpy, so I just whisk it up a bit and mix it together. If you weren't wanting to warm the custard, then you could just put all this in a blender. And now you want a little hint of sweetness. Now that depends on the sweetness of your natural sweetness of your milk, but also it depends on your taste buds as well. I don't want it too sweet, so I'm going to probably add in about a tablespoon or a tablespoon and a half. I'm using maple syrup here, but you could use honey, you could use some unbleached organic sugar if you want to. Brown rice syrup works beautifully in this, and I'll tell you another one that works well. You could take all these ingredients and you could pop them into like a high-speed smoothie maker blender, and you can add a couple of pitted dates, 2 or 3, and blend it all together, and actually that makes it really sweet. Now that's actually warm enough. That's really, really good. And so I don't want it any warmer because I don't want my milk separating, because this is a pan milk. And you see that colour is fantastic. So let's put that to one side. And I'm going to just show you what I'm going to do with these pears. These pears, they're in season at the moment. These pears are quite ripe. These are all little beauties that kind of basically fell off the tree. But these are conference pears, sometimes called bird bosque. And the browner they go on the outside, in fact, the more well done they are. And when I squeeze them, they've got a bit of give. So I know they won't need much cooking to actually taste sweet because they're already quite ripe. If you haven't got ripe pears, then use apples. If you want to use pears but they're not very ripe, then I would recommend you actually cook them for a bit longer, or even oven roast them. So I'm putting a little smidgen of olive oil in because I'm frying them. Extra virgin olive oil can withstand heat temperatures easily up to 210 degrees centigrade without being damaged. And so I'm using extra virgin olive oil for that reason. And so I just get this, take off that stalk. So I'm really just frying them up. Just going to get them, because they're sweet and ripe, really all I want is a little teeny bit of a crispy kind of outside, not on all of it, but just on the edges, and just to warm them through a bit. But you could toss them with the olive oil, and you could do what I'm doing here, but toss it all together ready, and you could just roast it in the oven, in really hot oven, probably about 185, perhaps 200 degrees centigrade. No higher because of the olive oil. So that's going to start frying off. This is a recipe for 2 people, so we want to get that going. Let's do some more. These pears are particularly lovely to cook with rather than to eat. I love them. They just have the right sort of texture for cooking, as opposed to kind of you're eating pears. Stay a little bit crisp even once they're ripe, whereas these go lovely and soft, these pears. So, because I've got a lot of flavour in my custard, my golden custard, what I'm going to do is I'm actually not going to add much flavour here to these pears. I'm just going to keep it fairly simple because that's a very golden, gingery custard. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add in, really happy with that. I'm going to add in some lemon zest, because funny enough the lemon zest brings out the flavour of the pears and the sweetness of the pears. It's a weird combination in your mouth, but actually if you put lemon zest into a dish like this, or into cakes or anything like that, it actually makes the dish taste sweeter. It's just a really good combination. So I'm popping in some lemon zest. That's the zest of one unwaxed lemon here. I'm just going to pop that in, and it just really goes well with those pears. I'm actually going to pop the juice in as well and let that kind of sweat down. It'll kind of it'll kind of evaporate, that's the word I was looking for. It'll evaporate off the lemon juice, but you're left with this very faint, it's not a great tang, it's just a little bit of a hint of lemon with these pears, and it's a lovely combination. Try and get some sticking off here. And then what am I adding to this? So I'm going to add some figs, some dried figs. Because I think they go beautifully with the gingery golden custard, and also they just go beautifully with pear as well. So I'm just taking the stalk off these dried figs. Chuck that in. And I'm also adding some pecan nuts. You can add any dried fruits you want, or not at all. You can add any nut you like. I mean, hazelnuts would be useful as well. You can actually flavour up, of course, your golden custard in any other way you like. You could add lots of like Christmassy spices. You could use, cinnamon and nutmeg and cloves. Oh. Or you could add some star anise, but then you wouldn't add the ginger because the ginger is quite overpowering. But you could sort of leave the star anise to kind of infuse the milk before you made the custard. That would be a really nice one. So I'm chopping up some of these pecans and leaving some whole because I think that would be quite a nice combination. So all that lemon juice is evaporated off now, and you see how the pear is just beginning to catch on the edges a little bit. Some of them more than others, that's alright, and because it's sweet and they're ripe, I think that's plenty of cooking time. So, how would I serve this up? Let's pop it in a bowl and I'll show you. There we go. Put some pecans in the bowl. With some of the fig and the pecans. There we go. And then we'll add that custard in. There we go. That lovely golden custard. See how it's thickened up now? That's because of the flaxseed has thickened it. That beautiful soluble fibre in the flaxseed has actually thickened the custard up, just naturally. So I'm going to pour a bit of that in to the bowl to go alongside it. Now you can make it as thick or as sort of thin, like say pouring cream. You could make it like that if you wanted to. You can make it however you like. But right now, the flavours coming off this and the smells coming off both these dishes are gorgeous, so I think I'm going to eat it.